It says Jay Prince calls out Offset for not being there for Takeoff. Offset claps back. We can get right into this though.
All right.
So literally, like, and I was just telling Josh, I was like, okay, watch The Last of Us, the new episode, or should I watch the $1 million worth of Game? Let's watch $1 million worth of Game.
Yeah.
And bro, honestly, when I was watching it, I was very intrigued with it. And by me watching this, it gave me damn near all the details that I need to make my
assessment
of the situation. And my assessment of the situation is this whole shit that happened with Takeoff, God rest his soul, it seems like it was over ego. 100% ego, 100% this is why you got to keep real structured people around you who know the fucking program. Because from what I'm gathering just from this information period is that, somebody was around the camp and it seems like everybody was letting their nuts hang, trying to, push a certain issue. And this is the fucked up thing when it comes down to the whole situation. And it's like, me being from where I come from, right? It's like a guilty by association thing.
Mm-hmm.
So all I know is I could be sitting here on the news, one of my little homies go do some bullshit, it doesn't matter, I'm directly affected by it. You know what I mean? Like, I will, if I'm the person that's the biggest, or if I'm the person with the name, they're gonna say, hey, I'm associated with it, I'm gonna go do this shit. And it just seems like
you're the representative of that entire section.
You're the representative. And when I'm listening to this shit, I'm like, damn, the guy is saying like, yeah, he thought Quavo was gonna get robbed, and that's why he did this and did that. And I'm like, if anybody knows about Houston, if you're under that mob ties protection and shit like that, like, they rock with you. They're gonna move with you. They're gonna do that shit. Like, they don't move lightly either. You know what I'm saying? But what do you do when you put yourself in a situation where if somebody, especially when everybody got pistols and shit, if somebody is even playing around like they're gonna do something to somebody, people are gonna react. And that's how I took from this was that, okay, if this is about a basketball game and if they're getting into a heated altercation, there's always gonna be somebody that ain't even from the shit that's gonna be like, oh, let me prove to you that I'm with you and I'm down with you 100%. You know what I'm saying? And that can come from both sides.
People overflexing.
They overflexing and shit too. And then especially when people see polls, when people seeing straps, they seeing all type of shit out there at the end of the day, men are going to react. Somebody's going to take shots. Somebody's going to do certain shit if they feel like their life is being put in jeopardy when it comes down to this. So I think this whole shit was basically ego, and Takeoff lost his life for no fucking reason.
Well, I mean, on top of that, these dudes even being involved in a dice game when they're as rich as they are, and it's not going to make or break them regardless, that's ego-driven in and of itself, right?
I mean, but that happens everywhere, though.
It do happen everywhere. But, I mean, I think the saddest thing about the whole thing is it wasn't even involving Takeoff, right?
No.
Like, he had nothing to do with it.
No.
So,
listen, so first off, man, yes, I think it's ego-based, man. And then also, too, man, just the whole situation of seeing Jay Prince Senior, right? Just having to explain himself. And I said, bro, like, the mystique, the lore of, like, that family is over with now, man. Like, for example, right, like, before this incident, like, they were the closest thing that we had to, like, a mob family in hip-hop, right? They were, scared, feared, and respected. Now, they just looking like they're, like, like, chatty patty. They're coming, on explaining themselves, showing paperwork. And then also, too, bro, like, if somebody is under your watch, meaning, bro, like, and if, let's say, AD brings, like, a famous rapper to a Compton, right? Bruh, none of AD homies is going to do anything to that famous rapper while AD is there again, like, if AD leaves and they violate, then cool, feel me, right? But if AD is there, presence is there holding it down, they not violating that famous rapper in front of AD, right? That just shows is either they were down with that, or they don't have control like we think they do. You feel me? Right?
Well, see, you kind of missing what the interview was saying.
Yeah.
The interview was saying is that earlier that day, Quavo was in the Fifth Ward, you know what I'm saying, surrounded by everybody and shit like that. They're trying to say that it was somebody on the other side that they bought that basically got, I guess trigger happy.
Yeah.
And that's how the situation transpired. So just like you said, if somebody comes to Compton and I got something under my so-called protection,
Yeah.
and they rocking with me, but I got somebody by me, that's with me is just, trying to be super tough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And something transpires between two outside people.
Yeah.
Nigga, that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with Quavo. That has nothing to do with anything that goes on with this shit. That has something to do with two people representing two separate sides getting into an altercation. And the big dogs are the ones that are getting, put in the middle of that. So
Right. But what I think Flacco was saying, though, is before this, the illusion or the assumption that all of us were operating under is that nobody in Houston outweighs Jay Prince. And there's doesn't matter politics, sides, sets, all that's out the window because he is the top dog, top G figurehead of the entire city.
Mob Top Blood
And-
covers you like nobody is without you.
and nothing is gonna supersede that. And if he goes, and that's always like the way that we've rocked. As far as like the mystique being shattered, I feel like that's more just a reflection of this era. Back in the day,
I agree.
there was no such thing as Clubhouse. There was no such thing as podcasts. All we had was the folklore, the tales in the streets, and the reputations
Of almost anything.
Of anything.
Yeah.
So now everything's kind of put more on blast. So it kind of gives more of a window into this, and it shatters those illusions.
And then also too, right? Shout out like to Unk, man. Like Wack 100 kind of like shattered that whole mystique, right? Because once Wack told us that like, and he was in the alley dolo with him, you feel me? Like, and he pressed him and he could smell fear. I said, nah, bro. You feel me? Because like, once you tell a story of like this guy who we think is the goblin, he's the menace, he's the demon, like he's like the mob boss of us all, and then you tell me is like you pressed him, asked him for a fade, and he turned it down. Nah, that's crazy. Right now, let's transition though to his comments now on Offset. Now, do y'all think that?
Wait, before you get
yeah.
there, don't mean to cut you
Sure.
off, Flacco. One thing I can say is this. You shouldn't even look at any individual that believes the same as you
Yeah.
as a goblin or anybody's untouchable. You know, nigga, John F. Kennedy got popped. You know what I'm saying? He was the president guarded by everybody. Like, nobody is above what you think it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? And as a man, you shouldn't be scared of any individual that believes the same as you.
Nah, that's a fact.
And most of the most feared and legendary gangsters
Usually get clipped.
They don't die of old age.
No.
Yeah.
You know? So that should just tell you right there at the end of the day. Like, no man is above anyone at the end of the day. And that's just, how it goes. No matter what the politics are, no matter what the preconceived notions. Wack's another example of someone like, yeah, we know Wack is a respected, feared dude out here. There would have been, the frame of reference would be so different, and people would be a lot more afraid of Wack back in the day because there was no Clubhouse. You wouldn't have that same access to him.
And Wack could tell you himself too. He ain't above this shit either.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody is above this shit. Anybody wings can get clipped at any given time, and it could be from a person that you don't even fucking would never think about that shit. Usually, scary niggas are the ones that's gonna pop and do shit first.
And,
5-1 Melly.
and LA is such a big city that there are several bosses of that caliber. And of course, at a certain point, the politics are going to come into play.
Yeah, nah, like the 051 Melly story, like represents exactly like what like AD just said, right? That like it took a scary nigga who was terrified because like 051 was just violating and bullying this nigga right for like 6 months straight, and eventually, bro, like, and he got so scared that like 051 was gonna kill him that he just shot him and killed him. You feel me? Right? So. So yeah, bro, you feel me? It be the scary niggas and who get you first. You feel me, man? But yeah, man. All right, so let's transition though to the Offset thing. Now, what's your take on that, man? Was he out of bounds, inbounds, wilding or tripping?
I feel like Offset, that's his real actual family.
Right.
And we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes of even why the Migos broke up to begin with in the first place.
Yeah.
But I do feel like even when he's talking about this situation, you can hear him in his voice. He sounds very hurt. He sounds very sincere. And I don't think that anybody involved in this should run off of he say, she say shit when everybody has the caliber, is at the caliber enough to talk to each other and really go directly to the source and see what's really going on. Because for, Jay Prince to go sit down with QC, you know what I'm saying? Like, all that happened. We don't know what was said in that shit, but it was said that it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we don't know what QC going back and forth with Offset with these legal situations, how their relationship is either too. So to me, it seems like Offset is on the outs when it comes down to everybody else involved, and he's hearing information, and then people are going back and saying certain type of things. There's a lot of he say, she say shit. I think niggas need to really holler at each other, and instead of letting rumors and everything dictate some real serious shit.
Offset has always been the live wire of the Migos. He's been the most active one. He's been the quickest to press lines. He's the one that when Versace first came out, he was locked up. He's the most street oriented out of all of them. Yeah. And also him having like this wedge between him and Takeoff and Quavo at the time of Takeoff's death. He probably feels he's acting out of emotion more than anything else at this point, and he's responding in an emotional way, and there's probably a lot of feelings behind him not getting a chance to reconcile with his family before he died. So at the end of the day, he's coming from his feelings, and to be honest with you, it's understandable.
Yeah, imagine how he feels too, especially with the internet. Like imagine all the shit that he hears. Imagine how much, bullshit that he's going through mentally when it comes down to the shit too. And, just to hear this situation he's probably every day he has to hear something crazy about this situation.
Yeah.
And, it's just unfortunate that, like I said, niggas need to holler at each other instead of all of this shit getting spewed into other bullshit.
Yeah. Communication,
100%.
No, right, but it's getting yes, right. Communication is key, but like stop passing like for example. Now I don't know who Jay Prince talked to where like they're relaying information back to him and Offset, but like if it's QC, that's fucked up, dog. Because why y'all even like pass that information back? Because apparently Jay Prince is, he's thinking that like Offset is pushing lines on him, sending goons because he said. Don't put me in a position where I have to defend myself.
Right.
Which means somebody told him Offset is on your ass. Like Offset trying to push lines on you. Now,
do you feel like that could be overcompensation for him feeling like he's been out the mix and now he's
man, because like for example, bro, if let's say this, right, something happens to like AD, right, and God forbid, and there's like rumors and there's people on like both sides saying that person is responsible for it, bro, Kiki pushing lines. You feel me? Like right, like
of course.
You feel me?
But if him and Kiki didn't get along at the time that something happened, Kiki might be even more so inclined because he's just acting. And I hate using this example.
No.
But yeah.
But honestly, too, when it comes down to that situation, if I'm Offset and I'm hearing all these rumors on both sides, I'm gonna be mad at both sides.
Exactly.
Unless I got some real information, concrete information. This is his family member. When it come down to family, like all of that other shit is out the window.
Man, bro, like when I heard that Offset was really cause rappers, like I've came to like the conclusion right now, right, that these rappers ain't on shit. You feel me, right?
100%.
You feel me? And and all these rappers is faking and flogging. These niggas won't hurt a butterfly. These niggas are soft. But when I heard that a rapper is behind the scenes pushing lines, I said, nah, that's different.
I mean, I think that's also a generalization because a lot of these rappers were. Think about all the Chicago dudes. Think about all the Bronx drill dudes. Like, there's a lot of people that were just goons first and rappers second.
And
right?
even that, if it's to the point that we're even talking about it, that's too much shit on the internet anyway.
Yeah.
Is that dry snitching though?
Nigga, all this shit is dry snitching.
Come
It's
on.
fucking terrible.
OG though, how can you be dry snitching?
All of this shit
Yeah.
is literally like, if something happens to either side, the police is gonna be like, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
It's beyond it's beyond dry snitching. It's confessions.
Yes.
It's a literal self-incrimination.